Hello, everyone. This is the Audible Sports Podcast. My name's Casey. This is Daniel, and today we're going over on every single NFL team on how many wins we think that they're going to get. We're going to start with the AFC West with the LA Chargers. To me, the Chargers are a dark horse to win it all. They won 9 games last year and just missed out of the playoffs. Does anybody want to take a timeout? No? Well, the Chargers did against the Raiders in the final game of the season, and that might have been the nail in their coffin right there, because they probably may have won that game. Instead, they gave the kicker some time to kick, and that's what happened. But they'll be tough to beat and a tough out this postseason. What do you think of the Chargers, Daniel?
Yeah, man, I think they'll do just as well as they did last year, if not better. They're getting more into that veteran level every year. They're a super young team. They just keep getting better and better, man. So I could see them contending for the Super Bowl. Absolutely. They got a tough division though, so we'll see how that goes. I
actually have them going 11-6. I will be doing the AFC teams. Daniel will be doing the NFC teams. But sticking with the NFC West, we will go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Too many people are putting too much into the Tyreek Hill. Yeah. Too many people are putting too much in the Tyreek Hill departure here. The Chiefs had Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore in the draft. That's a great receiver that they're going to have. Pair them with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and Kansas City will still be a contender. I have them going 11-6 on the season. Where do you have them, Daniel?
I think they'll do just fine. Like you said, Tyreek departure, I don't think it'll be that significant. He was, wide receiver 1, but I mean, really, Travis Kelce still there. You have plenty of targets to throw to. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. They'll get the job done. They'll do really well this season.
Yeah, Travis Kelce is still Travis Kelce. So moving on to another team in the AFC West, the Denver Broncos. They traded a haul to get Russell Wilson in the offseason. They got traded two first-round picks. Noah Fant and Drew Lock was a part of the package there. Wilson is a game changer, and I think the Broncos do get to their first winning record since 2016. I don't know if they make the playoffs, but I think they go 9-8, and that's where I have them. So I'm going to put them 9-10 wins over here. Where do you have the Broncos?
I think they're going to be in that same area. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for more than 10. They do have plenty of weapons to work with. Russell Wilson at your quarterback, I mean, just grade A veteran. He's going to bring a lot to the table. Going to make things work over there in Denver. Only time will tell with them, though. They got to prove it.
Yeah, here's the thing. The AFC West is going to be very, very competitive. But going on to the last team in the AFC West, I kind of have a hot take here. Sorry, Raider fans. But I think the Raiders are going 8-9 this year. I'm not completely on board with the hype train that people are giving them. We'll look back at the end of the year, and we can make fun of me if I'm wrong. I'll probably be wrong, because that's usually what happens. But I said what I said, and I stick by it. You can get more in-depth. You can get a more in-depth explanation from me on our first live stream when we go live August 9th at 7:30 Central Time. But I have them going 8-9. Where do you have the Raiders?
First off, I want to say you're wrong.
There you go. There's the first one. Won't be the first, won't be the last.
Any of you that are watching this right now, if you disagree with any of this or agree with any of it, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you guys think as well. We'd love to hear your input.
We will respond back to you guys.
Go, man, as far as the Raiders go, man, I think they'll still edge out Denver. That division is a toss-up. You got so many good teams there. It's we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that division.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. That's why they play the games.
Where they're at. Yeah, exactly. That's why we watch, and we do this early, and then, like you said, we make fun of you at the end of the season. You're gonna be.
Yep. Everybody loves making fun of me. So, but we got to move on. We're going to move on to the NFC West. I'll let you take it over from here. We'll start with the Seattle Seahawks. Where do you think they're going to go?
I think the Seahawks are going to run downhill pretty quick here. You got rid of Russell Wilson. He was your guy for however many years. But I do think they'll be running downhill fast. They're in a near rebuild state, I feel like. Russell Wilson gone, a couple of other key players on both sides gone as well. They'll have a tough year ahead of them. They also have a pretty tough schedule, being in the division that they're in. So I have the Seahawks at 6-11 this year.
I too have them at 6-11. I will move them over to the 5 to 6 win bracket. But let's face it, Seahawk fans, it's going to be a long season. Like
Going
Daniel
downhill.
said, yeah, tough schedule mixed with QB uncertainty. Your QB is gonna be Drew Lock or Geno Smith, and I can't give either one of them a QB1 rank there. I can't give them more than 6 wins, and I agree with you 100%. The next team we have from the NFC West is the Arizona Cardinals. I know you're on the Cardinals this year. I'm not so much, but let's hear your take on them.
So after further evaluation, start by saying I have the Cardinals at 10-7. I give them 10. Again, tough division to work with. But they did lose Chase Edmonds. They lost Christian Kirk and Chandler Jones. That's going to leave a couple holes in their arsenal. They're still a solid team though. I mean, Kyler Murray got his 5-year, $230 million contract. Nuts.
That is nuts. It's a lot of money.
He deserves it. He's a great quarterback. He stays healthy considering what he does running around so much. But I think they still have enough to be in playoff contention. But yeah, I have them at 10-7.
I think the Cardinals season kind of depends on their first 6 games without DeAndre Hopkins. It's one of the toughest schedules in the entire league that they have. I'd be surprised to see him get 10 wins. I actually have him at 9-8, so I wouldn't be super surprised to see him at 10 wins, but I don't know if they can get to it. I don't like him as much as other people do. We can come back to this at the end of the season, but I have him at 9-8. But since you have him at 10 wins, I'm going to move him up to the 9-10 win bracket. And then the next team we're going to talk about is the San Francisco 49ers, the team you got to see in person take out your Cowboys last year in the playoffs.
Yep, that was very depressing. Yeah. Anyway, Niners this year, they're going to be a force to reckon with. I think they were super good last year. Unfortunately, they did beat out the Cowboys at home. There was no reason for them to do that, for the Cowboys to blow that game. But aside from that, they still have weapons. They got Debo back. They got George Kittle back. They're going to have some solidarity in Trey Lance at quarterback now. They'll have him settle in and start working. So their offense should be able to put up enough points to win games. They also added Jadarius Ward, Kansas City.
Yep, they sure did.
A couple of other defensive weapons. So I do think they'll be a force to be reckoned with. I do still have them at 10-7 with the Cardinals.
Moving up to the Cardinals rank with the Broncos there. I actually also have them at 10-7. I think their defense is good enough to keep them in any game. Their offense should be solid. I don't know if I'm 100% believer in Trey Lance, though. We'll see what he gets to do in a full season. This team should be fun to watch, though. But we'll move on to the defending Super Bowl champions, the LA Rams. Where do you think they're going to end up this year?
The Defenders, without question, they're at 11 or more. Throw them up there real quick.
Bam.
There's no reason to not have them up there. Matt Stafford leading the offense. You got Aaron Donald leading their defense. They pick up right where they left. They did have some key departures in Odell Beckham Jr. and Robert Woods and Von Miller. They did sign Bobby Wagner to add to their defense as well. But I have them at 13-4 this year. I feel like they'll pick up right where they left off and just do as well as they did last year, if not better.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They also signed Allen Robinson from the Bears last year. But I agree with you. They should pick up right where they left off. This team should easily reach double-digit wins again, and they'll be battling for the 1 seed in the NFC. I think they get back to the Super Bowl this year. They're actually my NFC pick to get back to the Super Bowl, and they're just built to win.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. They got everything going for them right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll head back to the AFC. We're going to go to the AFC North, and we're going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals, the team that played the Rams in the Super Bowl last year. The AFC champs only got better in the offseason. They beefed up their offensive line. I think they will be in contention for another Super Bowl appearance, but I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. We'll explain that later. They're going to be a tough to beat. I'm looking forward to the Bengals-Ravens matchups, too. I mean, those are going to be some great A matchups. What do you think the Bengals are going to do? I have them at 11-6. Wouldn't be surprised to see more, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see them lose one or two less. Where do you think they're going to end up?
Yeah, I'd have them 10 or 11. 10 or 11. They're a high caliber offense. You got Joe Burrow back there working. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They proved themselves. So
you got Jamar Chase too. So
as well, yeah, they will pick up right where they left off as well, and I think they'll be hungry for some revenge. So I could see them 11 or more wins as well, and I could see them back in the Super Bowl this year. They have a lot of winners on that team.
Yeah, they'll be blasting down the gates when the season starts. Next, we'll go to the Baltimore Ravens. This team should be much improved from last year. Their defense should be solid, barring any injuries like last year. They have the best secondary in the league, too. Also, their entire running game comes back. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, even Lamar Jackson was hurt at the end of last year. This team threw the ball over 600 times last year. That's insane. Insanity. They won't do that again this year, and they'll get back to their running ways. But last year's injury-ridden team finished 8-9 on the year, and if they stay healthy this year, I see them going 11 wins or more as well. This is going to be a team to watch, and they might challenge the Bengals for the AFC North title and even possibly make some noise in the playoffs. What do you think they're going to do?
Yep, I could see that 100% as well. They're definitely a force to be reckoned with. Like you said, they'll get all of their running game back. Their running game, that is their offense. I mean, their entire offense can run the ball.
Yeah.
To be honest here,
the whole team can run.
They'll produce if they can stay healthy. I mean, that's all I really have to say on it. I think, like you said, they have the potential to be over 11 wins, but it's all going to come down to health for the Ravens, I feel like.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. That's why we play out the seasons. Next team in line is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last season, they squeaked into the playoffs. My Colts had a little help in helping them do that. But the Steelers haven't had a losing season since 2003. It's been quite a long time since that's happened. I mean, that's an impressive run. I actually think that changes this year. I think playing an improved Ravens team, really good Bengals team, along with a tough AFC, I don't trust Trubisky or Pickett as their quarterback. And I think the Steelers miss out on the playoffs this year. I really do, and I actually think they have a losing record. I think they go 7-10. I don't see how they make the playoffs in this tough AFC.
Yeah, you're 100% right with that. The Steelers will not make the playoffs this year. They're on a decline as well. Mm-hmm. Like you said, 2003, their first losing record since 2003.
It's happening this year. Book it.
Yeah, I can definitely see it happening this year. I don't know that they get, probably get at least 7, but anything over that's kind of pushing it.
Yeah, 7 or 8 is where I see them. I have them 7-10, but let's go on to probably the most controversial team in the offseason is the Cleveland Browns. I have them going 8-9, and the only reason being is this record's based on if Deshaun Watson doesn't play the first 8 games. I think he's going to be suspended between 6 and 8 games. The Browns got finessed by the Texans in getting Deshaun Watson. The Browns are also going to be paying Baker Mayfield to play against the Browns week 1, which is insane. But you got to wonder what the Browns are thinking when they did this trade. A tough AFC schedule make that much harder for the Browns to succeed this year. I don't see them as a playoff team. Where do you see the Browns this year?
Barring the suspension of Deshaun Watson, I mean, who to back up Deshaun
Watson? I actually don't know right now. With Baker leaving.
Yeah. So.
Oh, it's Jacoby Brissett. It's Jacoby Brissett.
I mean, even then, Jacoby Brissett's a QB2.
Yeah, he's got an arm, but yeah, you're right.
He's not a QB1. He's decent, but he's not a starter in the NFL. I put the Browns less than 7 this year. I don't think they'll perform. If you have Deshaun Watson in the mix, maybe they get 7 or 8. But like you said, with the tough AFC, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, he's definitely not playing
under 7.
Definitely not playing all the games. But we'll head over to the NFC North. Back to the NFC in your domain. We'll start with the Chicago Bears. What do you think they're going to do this year?
The Bears. The Bears essentially cleaned house in 2022 offseason, and they're going to start rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. Nick Foles is gone. Tariq Cohen's gone. Khalil Mack's gone. They have a super tough schedule ahead of them. I have them at 5-12.
5-12.
That's all I have to say on the Bears.
That's actually where I have them too. They had one of the worst off seasons, not helping Justin Fields at all. I don't know what they're thinking there. They get rid of Allen Robinson. He doesn't. I'll move him up to 5-12 here. Roll 5 to 6 wins, but we're saying 5-12. I'm giving the Bears 5 wins this year. I think that's their ceiling. I don't think they can win more than that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win less. But let's go to another historically terrible team, the Detroit Lions. My mom's favorite team. Historically terrible team. My mom's favorite team, but what do you think they're going to do? Yeah, sorry, Mom.
I don't think they'll be the worst team in the league this year.
I don't either.
They have Jared Goff, leading their offense. I think that's Jared Goff's a good quarterback. I mean, he can definitely produce on the offensive side. I do think they'll be at the bottom of their division, for sure. And yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say on the Lions. They're the Lions. I feel like they'll continue what they've been doing for the past, what, been like 10 years.
At least they won't be surprised, the Lions fans.
Yeah.
Where do you have them in
I
wins?
got them at 4-13.
4-13.
4-13.
Move them up to the 4 wins or less. The first team there, the Detroit Lions. I actually have them at 5-12. I think they'll be somewhat a little bit better. They drafted Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, go blue, and Jameson Williams from Alabama. It'll make them better than last year, but not by much. I'm giving them 5 wins. This team can be great in a few years, though, if they keep this up. But let's move on into the depths of the NFC North. We're going to go with the Green Bay Packers, a team you should hate, but you don't.
I don't hate them. I don't hate the Packers. I'll say it over and over again. I should hate the Packers. I'm a Cowboys fan. Dez caught it, whatever, yada, yada. I don't hate the Packers. I respect their organization. I respect Aaron Rodgers. He's a great quarterback. In regards to how I think their season will go, I think they'll continue their leading of the NFC North. They re-signed Aaron Rodgers, Robert Tonyan, and Jair Alexander. I think they'll remain productive on the offensive side. And I think departure of Devontae Adams, I think, what is it? I think you told me, Casey, they're like 7-0 without Devontae Adams playing.
Yep, they're 7-0 under Matt LaFleur. The Packers are 7-0 when Devontae Adams doesn't play.
They also added in Sammy Watkins. So, I mean, you kind of fill in the shoes there. He's not Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is the number 1 receiver. But obviously, they've proven that they don't need him there. So, they got new young talent jumping in. They'll be competing for the division with Minnesota, I think. But I do think that Green Bay will take it at 11-6.
Got them at 11 wins or more. I actually have them at 10-7. And as Aaron Rodgers once said, people, relax. The Packers will still be competitive this year. They'll be fine. But we'll head on to the final team in the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings. How do you think they're going to fare? You said they'll be competitive with the Vikings?
Yeah, I think the Vikings and the Packers will compete for the division this year. They have a couple of defensive additions to the team, including the Packers' Zadarius Smith at linebacker. Offense will continue to produce behind a healthy Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins. So I think they'll bode well. I have them at 10-7.
I do have the
Packers take it, but I have them at 10-7.
I have both teams at 10-7, but here's another one of my hot takes that Packer fans might not like. I think Minnesota is going to win the division this year. I think that this is the year that they overtake them. I think they're good enough to take the NFC North crown from the Packers. Call me crazy, but we will look back at this at the end of the season. I know you said you don't think that's going to happen, but that's why we're making this video. We can come back to it at the end of the season. If you don't like my take, put it in the comments. We'll reply back to you. Let's have a fight. Just kidding. We're not going to fight, but let's have
how wrong he is about everything.
I'm always wrong apparently, but we're going to go over to the AFC South where my Colts reside. We're going to talk about the Houston Texans. They are my personal pick to be the worst team in the league next season. It's going to be a very long season for Texans fans. And Texans fans, that's all I really got. I got you going 3-14, and that's only because you played the Jaguars twice. I got you at 4 wins or less. So where do you got the Texans, Daniel?
I agree. The Texans organization is rough. There's not much for me to say. Anybody that pays attention to football knows that the Texans are just... I personally think they just need to move out of Houston and restart their organization totally. But
I don't think they're going to do that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Moving on in the South, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I still hate you, Jaguars. Jaguar fans, I don't hate you, but Colts shouldn't have lost the Jaguars at the end of the season. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Doug Peterson's an upgrade from the Urban Meyer debacle that they had last year. They will be better than their 3-14 record from last year. I just don't think by very much. I think they can win one more game. I have them at 4-13. Where you got them?
Yeah, in the same realm. Same thing as the Texans. I mean, the Jaguars they started to improve a little bit in the past couple of years, but not enough. Definitely not enough.
Yeah, they had that impeccable run to the AFC Championship game a couple years ago with Blake Bortles at their quarterback. You remember that? That was crazy.
Yeah. But I think they come back down to earth and remember that they're the Jaguars. And,
kind of like the Lions.
Yeah.
Well, next we'll move on to the Tennessee Titans. Well, they have 4 home games against Jacksonville and Houston. It's hard for me not to give them 10 wins. Their schedule's pretty easy. Tennessee definitely won't be the 1 seed in the AFC this year, though. And the AFC is real tough. I mean, I think they can get to 10 wins. I'm going to give them 9 to 10 wins, but I'm going 10-7, but I don't think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you got a stacked ass AFC.
Mhm.
They proved a lot of people wrong last year, though. I mean, don't count them out. They definitely have the production that they need. As long as they can keep Derrick Henry healthy. I mean, that dude's a workhorse, man. He's a monster. So
Yeah, I think losing
agree with
AJ
where they're
Brown
at.
though is a big loss for them.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of receivers out there that you can use. I mean, it won't be the same, but I think they'll be all right.
All right, well, moving on to the last team. It's my team. With the acquisition of Matt Ryan in the offseason, the Colts should have some better QB play than last season. I don't think you can get much worse than what Carson Wentz did in some of the games last year. But we had 7 Pro Bowlers last year, the most of any team in the league, and I think the Jaguars' loss at the end of last season will fuel us to an AFC South title and a playoff berth. Where do you see the Colts? I have the Colts actually going 11-6 this year.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. The Colts need to come back angry. I mean, you can't blow playoff hopes like that to the worst teams in the league. They got to come back with a fire under their butt and just they gotta do work week in and week out and just.
The worst part about that loss is people like Daniel have not let me hear the end of it.
Oh, I'll never stop. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I do think they'll do well this year again. Of course, barring no injuries and staying healthy. But yeah, Matt Ryan back there. You got Jonathan Taylor back this year. Should be top 5, if not the number 1 running back in the league again. They'll produce, man. They'll produce. They just gotta execute and.
I'm hoping so.
Not get complacent.
Yeah. But speaking of Matt Ryan, we're going to the NFC South. We're going to talk about Matt Ryan's old team, the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think the Falcons are going to do this year?
Dude, it's rough in Atlanta, man. It's rough in Atlanta. I have the Falcons should end up being the worst team in the NFC South, without question.
Agreed.
They basically had like a full makeover on each side of the ball. Like they basically have a new fresh team, but it's not where it needs to be, obviously, to compete in the NFL.
Where you got them
I
wins?
wouldn't count them 100% out of like anything. I do think that they could very, very slim chance start surprising people a little bit and go for, a couple wins here and there.
Up here, huh?
No, absolutely not. No. They're not on the top half of this at all. They do have a really tough schedule, though. They have a really tough schedule. Their team's not ideal. I do think they're in a rebuild phase, but they're in like a weird, awkward phase of rebuild where like they could surprise everyone and go for like 7 to 8 wins. I don't think that'll happen. No, I have them at 3-14 based off of their schedule.
I have them at 4-13 based off the schedule. This team's just going to be worse than last season without Matt Ryan. And I think they'll be competing with the Texans for the number 1 overall draft pick. I really do. I think the number 1 draft pick is going to go to one of those 2 teams. I think the Jaguars and the Lions are better than both of those teams. But we'll see. That's why we play the games. Next on the list is the Carolina.
Really weird spot.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
But
the Falcons are just in a weird spot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Next on the list is the Carolina Panthers. They got Baker Mayfield. What do you think about that?
Dude, good old Baker Mayfield, man. He's so controversial, but he's not,
Yeah.
Like there's just so much publicity around him all the time. But I don't know if they'll have Baker start game 1. I think they should. But it does leave some questioning with him and Sam Darnold there. The Panthers had a solid offseason, though. They should be able to turn around last year's 5-12 season, do a little bit better. Health will definitely be key for them. You got Christian McCaffrey getting hurt every year. He's got to stop. He's got to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to do anything unless he's healthy.
Correct.
They did also sign a couple of offensive linemen in Austin Corbett from the defending champ LA Rams. They also Drafted Ikem Ekwonu. It's got a hard name to say, out of NC State. That should give them some more stability.
Yeah, that guy's going to be good.
In the health department. Yeah, should give them some more stability in the health department for Christian McCaffrey, and whoever their QB1 turns out to be should be Baker Mayfield, but find out.
Yeah, I think it should be Baker Mayfield too, and I think they'd be crazy not to play. I want to see Baker against the Browns week 1 and have the Browns pay him. I mean, That being said, though, I don't see Carolina doing much. I have them at 4-13. Where do you have them?
Yeah, I got them at 7-10.
7-10.
I think they'll do decent, but I don't think they'll make playoffs or really compete.
Yeah, no, they'll be bottom of the barrel for sure.
7-10 is where I have.
All right, Daniel, the next team we got in the NFC South is the New Orleans Saints. What do you think the Saints are going to do this year?
New Orleans. I think the Saints will do really well this year. They've added some serious weapons this year with the Honey Badger coming from Kansas City. Good old Tyrann Mathieu proved himself year in, year out that he's an elite defensive back. He'll do well in New Orleans, adding to their already decent defense. Their defense surprised a lot of people last year, and they're getting even better. So look out for New Orleans down there. They also added Jarvis Landry on their offensive side, and I do think they'll be contenders for a wild card spot this year. And I do think they could potentially contend for the NFC South. I could see it happening.
Hey, the Saints are going to be scary this year.
Yeah, having said that, they do have a kind of tough schedule. It'll be a gauntlet for them. I have them at 9-8 though. 9-8, competing for a wild card / division spot. They could surprise a lot of people.
Let's move them on up to the 9-10 wins. I actually have the Saints at 10-7, and I agree with you 100%. I think they could compete for that division, depending on how the division games go. Mm-hmm. The Saints last year fielded 4 different QBs, and they still won 9 games. That's insane. Yep. With Jameis Winston back this season, like you said, Jarvis Landry, they got Chris Olave in the draft out of Ohio State. They're also joining a healthy Michael Thomas. As long as they stay healthy, I think the Saints surprise people and make the playoffs this season. But let's go on to who should be their competitors in this division, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Where do you got them?
Dude, Tampa Bay I feel like they're kind of a toss-up, but then you have Tom Brady. So they have a lot of key re-signings. They added Russell Gage to their arsenal. They did, as of right now, Gronk is retired. He's not coming back. You do have Cameron Brate, who had stepped in already last year to back him up, though, and basically pick up the pieces that Gronk left behind.
Yep.
So I think they'll do pretty well. And, Tom Brady is leading your team. So there's no counting them out. You just can't. I have the Bucs at 11-6, based on their scheduling. I think they'll pick up where they left off last year, and they'll do really well this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Tom Brady's unretirement makes Tampa a Super Bowl contender again. Like, it's just insane what he does to teams in his 40s.
You can't count him out.
Yeah, you can't get him out of there. They'll have one of the league's top offenses and one of the league's top 10 defenses. Tampa should reach 10-11 wins and be back in the playoffs. They'll be just fine this year. Bucs fans got an extra life this year with Tom Brady coming back. But moving on from the NFC South, we got 2 more divisions to go. We're on to the AFC East, and we're going to start with the New York Football Jets. The Jets had one of the best drafts over draft weekend, if you're asking me. They got Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. They're going to instantly make that team better. They could surprise some people this year. I'm not saying they're going to surprise people and make the playoffs, but I think they're going to have more wins than people think they're going to have. They should be improved from last year and win more games. I actually have them at 7-10. I have them winning 7 games this year. I think I could see them doing it.
Okay.
I think they should be fine. What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, I think they do have the potential to be in that state. Having said that, they are the Jets.
That's true.
I'll have them at 5-6, but they definitely have the potential with their new signing. I could see your point in them having 7 wins.
Perfect. We'll move on to the New England Patriots. 6 Super Bowl wins in 20 years. Not too shabby, Pats fans. Not too shabby. You guys have been absolutely spoiled, and I hate you all. Just want you to know that. Just kidding. I don't hate you, Pats fans. I don't see them making the playoffs this year, though. I do think they will win some games. I think they're going to go 9-8, but I can't put them at double digits just because of how tough the AFC is this year. What is your take on the Patriots? I think they get 9 wins, but that's not enough to get into the playoffs for me.
Well, I think 9-10 wins is going to be the like ground to get into the playoffs for the AFC. It is super tough. It will be really difficult for them to get in.
I actually think you're going to need to win 10 at least.
Yeah. It's going to be rough for the AFC. So I can agree with you there. I don't know that they get that many wins. They're a good solid team. I think they'll do just as well as they did last year. I'm not convinced on them. That's all.
Yeah, they're not the best team in the league, but they will compete in that division. They're not going to win that division. We'll get to that team later. Everybody knows who that team is. But next, we'll go to the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins should be better this year after adding Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson from your Cowboys, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, and Sony Michel. They play in a tough AFC East, but I think they can leap this year. And by taking a leap, I think they're going to leap the Patriots for the second spot in the AFC East. Mm-hmm. And they'll be contending for a playoff spot. I don't know if they get there, but they'll contend for one. Where do you see the Dolphins?
Yeah, dude, the Dolphins are going to be scary this year. I really do think they will. I do think that they will surpass the Pats. What did you say you had them at record?
I have them at 10-7, which was why I just moved them up.
10-7 with the Patriots?
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, I have the Patriots at 9-8, Dolphins at 10-7.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. They've added a ridiculous amount of weapons. They just got to go in and put it all together and make it work. They'll compete in that division.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will give the Bills a run for their money. But speaking of the Bills, let's move on to the Bills. Nobody circles the wagons better than the Buffalo Bills, and no fans destroy tables better than the Buffalo Bills fans. I don't think any tables in Buffalo are safe this year because I think the Bills have the most balanced roster in the league. If it wasn't for a bogus coin flip rule last year in the playoffs, I'm sorry, Kansas City, but that was an awesome game, but the Bills probably would have won that game if they win the coin flip. The rules are rules, though. You guys won and then lost in the next round, but prepare for the Bills' revenge tour this year. I think this is finally their year, and I think they hoist the Lombardi in February with their win over the Rams in the Super Bowl. What do you think of the Bills?
Yeah, dude, they'll pick up right where they left off. I think like a couple of AFC teams that lost in the wrong way, the Colts.
Shut up.
I think they'll have I think they'll have some revenge to come get.
Yeah, I actually have them.
They'll contend for the Super Bowl.
My best record is going to be for the Bills. I have them at 13-4 this year. 13-4, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win more than 13 games. But I think that's a good starting point there. We'll move on to the final division, which is the division your Cowboys are in, the NFC East. We'll start with the New York Football Giants. Where do you think they're going to go?
New York. It's been a long time since you've heard good things from the Giants, which doesn't make a lot of sense considering, Saquon Barkley there, and Daniel Jones is a pretty solid quarterback in my opinion. I don't think he's as bad as people think. He's a lot more athletic than people think, and it's kind of weird. But having said that, they're the Giants. They do have a new head coach, new general manager. I think the Giants are in a very, very deep pit, but they're starting to climb out of it. I think they're going in the right direction, but they're going slowly. But I do think they're finally up on that upturn, and I do think that they'll not do good this year, but they're getting better. They're getting better.
What do you have them win-wise?
4-13.
4-13? 4-13. I have them at 6-11.
They had 3 wins last year.
Yeah, I have them at 6-11. I think they're going to win more than 4 games. Giants fans, Joe Judge is gone, and that makes you instantly better. Like that guy was a cancer for your team. That's insane that a head coach can be that bad. Well, I mean, you can ask the Jaguars or their Meyer too, but if they can stay healthy, I can see them winning 7 to 8 games. That might be a hot take, but I have them at 6-11. They could win more, but I'm keeping them at 6-11 because Daniel Jones is your quarterback. I don't have as much belief in him as you do, Daniel. Yep. But we got to move on to the Washington Commanders.
One more thing about the Giants, real quick.
Go for it.
They're a very potential ready team, so I can agree with you on that. But they're on proving grounds for sure.
Yeah.
Commanders. You got Carson Wentz added. I don't know like what he's gonna do at this point on. He just keeps getting thrown around.
He's a definite upgrade from what they've had there.
Yeah, that's true. They ran through ridiculous amount of quarterbacks last year with injuries. So now they have, a solid quarterback there. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is bad, but he's not very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like clutch? Not clutch, but
He isn't clutch.
He's missing something.
He can make some clutch throws, but he's not clutch overall.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback, but he's not like an elite quarterback.
True.
You can put it like that. So yeah, the addition of Carson Wentz, they addressed some defensive needs in their offseason, specifically in their defensive line. I think they'll do a little bit better than last year, having Carson Wentz in that. I have them at 9-8. I have them 9-8, third place in that division.
It's a very generous record. 9-8, 9 to 10 wins up here.
Yeah. The NFC East has the easiest scheduling this season.
I can't put my finger on the Commanders because they're the one of the few teams in the league that I don't know what they're going to do this year. Carson Wentz is like the outlier there. If he balls out, they could definitely go 9 to 10 wins. But I have them at 7-10. I don't think they have a winning record, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do win more than that. But let's move on to the next team. One of your favorite teams in the league, your girlfriend's favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to Janeth. Shout out to Janeth.
It's awful. Just kidding, but anyway. Yeah, the Eagles, dude, it's hard for me to say, but they're going to be ridiculous this year. They're going to be super good. They got with the acquisition of AJ Brown, I do think that's going to take Eagles to playoff contention level. I will say their defense last year not force a lot of turnovers. I think they had the second least in the NFC. They did score off of them though. The ones that they did have, they scored off of them. They had 30 defensive points last year. They had 30 defensive points, but only 16 turnovers total.
It's not a bad stat.
They also had the second least amount of sacks in the NFC at 29. They finished 9-8 last year, but they definitely have added to their team, and I do think that they're going to do really well. And they're going to compete with Dallas for the 1 seed in that division. It's toss up almost every year with those two teams at this point.
But I don't think any team had any better offseason than the Eagles. They had AJ Brown, the trade with the Titans. Get AJ Brown out of my division. Thank you, Titans. They added defensive tackle Jordan Davis from Georgia, who is a beast. They added Nakobe Dean, also from Georgia in the draft, who is also a beast. They smashed the draft. The Eagles had 9 wins last season and a playoff berth. This season I have them at 10 wins, and I think they will battle Dallas in the NFC East. I think they top Dallas in the NFC East, but it's going to be a battle. How many wins did you say you had the Eagles at?
I got them at 11-6.
11-6. And
like
one more
I said
game
earlier,
better
the
than
scheduling for the NFC East. The NFC East scheduling is just they have the easiest schedules in the league.
Yeah. Well, we're on to your boys. What do you think the Cowboys are going to do this year, Daniel?
It's hard. It's very difficult as a Cowboys fan to exist, No, I think the Cowboys will do well. They have so much potential and they just got to unleash it and they got to stay consistent. Consistency is going to be key with Dallas. They need to find ways to execute and win their games. They should have won 14 last year, I think. But, you throw away games at the end. I mean, you saw the Niners in the wild card spot. It shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, we were there.
There's no excuses for that.
You guys were inconsolable after that game.
I was so angry. But anyway, the Cowboys addressed some of their offensive line issues. We got rid of some key pieces in the O-line, but we also picked up some new ones. We're getting Zeke back healthy. The departure of Amari and Cedric Wilson is going to be a little rough. But like I said earlier in the video, that the wide receiver spot, there's always receivers available, and there's always people hungry to fill in shoes and be those wide receiver 2-3s role players.
Try and be the
CD's
guy.
going to take over at the 1. Yeah, CD will take over at wide receiver 1. But I think we'll be all right with Noah Brown there and a couple of other receivers. Our defense surprised everyone last year. I think they'll do just as well this year. You got Michael Parsons coming fresh off his rookie of the year. That dude's a monster.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Trayvon Diggs should have a good season as well, considering the strength of our scheduling. I think they'll do really well. But like I said, execution is going to be key for them. They got to win the games late. They need to get ahead of their games early and hold their leads. That's what they need to do, because so many times they're playing catch up, and a lot of the times they can pull it off, but there's no need for them to be doing that. They have all the potential in the world to just blow people out of the water. I have the Cowboys at 12-5 taking the division.
12-5. So we're moving up here. Remove the Eagles out of the screen just a bit here, just so you can do that. Losing a lot of players for Dallas for me. On their team from last year, they lost Amari Cooper, Randy Gregory, Lyle Collins, Connor Williams. Those are just a few of them. Michael Gallup's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks to start the season. It's going to be tough grinding to start the season for them. I have them at 10-7. I think they're going to be battling with Philadelphia, but ultimately I think Philadelphia is going to take it. I think you said, would you have them at 12-6?
I got Philly at 11-6, Dallas 12-5.
Gotcha. 12-5, my bad. But there you have it, everybody. This is our list of what we think that the team's highest potentials are, how many wins they're going to have. So we'll see what plays out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget that every Tuesday night starting August 9th at 7:30 Central Time, we will be doing our full live stream show where you can interact with us during the stream. This is the Audible Sports Podcast, and we will see you guys later.